The stars looked calm and quiet from Earth's Space Command Center, but the peace was only a thin mask over deep tension. For hundreds of years, humans had reached out beyond their home planet, exploring the galaxy, meeting new species, and trying to build a better future. But the galaxy was changing, and not for the better. Commander Aaron stood before the huge window, staring at the black sky dotted with distant lights. His face was serious. Behind him, the room buzzed with quiet voices and soft electronic sounds. On the main screen, a hologram showed a gathering of leaders from many alien worlds. "The Galactic Coalition Council has spoken," Aaron said softly. "They want us to stop interfering in their affairs. They say if we do not, we will be forced to leave the galaxy." Aaron's words filled the room like a heavy cloud. The leaders of Earth's government had gathered in the command center to hear the message. The Council's warning was clear. Humans must withdraw or face exile. The Council was made up of many powerful alien races, some friendly, some not. They had once welcomed humans as partners, but over time, the humans' efforts to help had caused problems. Instead of peace, the galaxy had become more dangerous. Aaron turned to face the Earth leaders. "We tried to make peace. We tried to protect innocent worlds. But the aliens say we have made the conflicts worse." A woman stepped forward. She was Minister Kira, in charge of Earth's foreign affairs. "What do they want from us exactly?" she asked. "Complete withdrawal," Aaron said. "No more military actions outside Earth. No more political interference in alien matters. They want us to stay silent and watch from a distance." The room grew silent. Some leaders looked angry, others worried. One old man shook his head. "After everything we have done, after all the help we gave, this is how they repay us?" Aaron nodded. "It is a serious threat. The Coalition's fleets are strong. If we refuse, it will not just be words next time." Outside, the news was already spreading. People across Earth watched in shock as the Coalition's warning was broadcast live. Many could not believe that after all humanity's sacrifices, they would be forced to leave the galaxy. In a small apartment far from the command center, a young woman named Lyra sat watching the news. She was a captain in the human space fleet and had spent years protecting human colonies and helping alien worlds in need. Her eyes were heavy with tiredness and sadness. "They don't understand," she whispered to herself. "We only wanted peace." Lyra's family had grown up hearing stories about humans being the galaxy's protectors. Her father had fought in the first great wars, and her mother was a diplomat. For Lyra, space was home. But now everything was changing. Back at the command center, a debate began. Some leaders wanted to fight. They believed humanity could still control their fate. Others said it was time to accept the reality and find a new way. Minister Kira spoke again. "If we fight, the cost will be great. Our fleets are strong, but not as large as the Coalition's. We risk losing everything we have built." Another leader, General Han, was firmer. "We cannot walk away. If we leave, who will protect the innocent? Who will stop the warlords? We must show strength." Aaron listened carefully. He had seen too much war to believe that strength alone could win peace. "Maybe the galaxy has changed," he said quietly. "Maybe humans are no longer needed there." The Council's message was a test. Could humanity survive without the galaxy's stage? Could they find a new purpose? Meanwhile, across the galaxy, alien leaders watched Earth's reaction closely. Some smiled with relief, others frowned in disappointment. The Coalition spokesman, a tall, blue-skinned alien named Varen, spoke to his council. "Humans once stood for hope and unity, but their time is over. We must protect our own." Varen's voice was cold but calm. "If humans insist on staying, we will make them understand." Back on Earth, the command center prepared for the worst. The fleet was on alert. Ships were ready to defend Earth and its interests. But the question was, should they? Lyra received orders to prepare her crew for possible conflict. Her heart ached. "I don't want to fight my friends," she said to her second-in-command. "But if it comes to that, we must be ready. Her crew worked quietly, knowing that their future was uncertain. They had dreamed of exploring the stars, but now it felt like a trap. As night fell on Earth, millions looked up at the stars, wondering what the future held. The humans who had once been the galaxy's heroes were now facing their greatest challenge: to stay and fight a losing war, or to leave and find a new path. Aaron returned to the window, looking out at the quiet sky. Maybe, he thought, it is too late to fix what we broke. The war had started quietly at first, like a shadow creeping across the galaxy. Old rivalries flared into open conflict again. For years, alien factions had fought over resources, territories, and power. Humans had tried to stop the violence, many times. But now it seemed the galaxy was slipping into chaos beyond anyone's control. Captain Lyra's ship, the Starbreaker, glided silently through a field of asteroids. The crew was tense, watching the space around them carefully. Their mission was clear: protect a small colony caught between two warring alien factions. The colony had asked for help. Humans could not say no. Lyra stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the glowing blue planet ahead. The colony below was home to thousands of people. Many were human settlers, but others belonged to friendly alien races. If the fighting reached this place, many innocent lives would be lost, Captain, her first officer called softly. Enemy ships detected near the outer orbit. They are moving fast and armed. Lyra's heart tightened. Prepare for possible attack, she ordered, calmly. We must protect the colony no matter what. The Starbreaker moved quickly to position itself between the enemy fleet and the planet. But the battle was not just about firepower. It was about trust and hope and the future of the galaxy. Across the stars, the war was spreading fast. Alien fleets battled each other with fierce weapons and ruthless tactics. Humans had tried to stay neutral, but now everyone was involved. In a distant command center on Earth, Commander Aaron watched reports come in. Ships were being lost, alliances shattered. The coalition that had warned humans to leave was falling apart from within. This war will consume us all, Aaron said to Minister Kira during a tense meeting. If we continue to fight, it will only bring more death and destruction. Kira looked worried but determined. Then what do you suggest? We cannot abandon the galaxy to this madness. Aaron shook his head. Maybe it is time to accept that we cannot fix this. Back on the Starbreaker, Lyra's crew fought with all their strength. The enemy ships fired beams of energy and missiles, but the human crew used clever tactics to defend the colony. Shields holding at 60%, the engineer reported. But we can't keep this up forever. Lyra gritted her teeth. Keep the fighters ready. We will not let the colony fall. As the battle raged, Lyra's thoughts returned to the warnings from the coalition. The alien leaders said humans were the problem. But to her, humans were the last hope. Her second-in-command, a calm and steady woman named Eris, approached her quietly. Captain, we have a message from Earth Command. Lyra took the datapad. The message was clear and painful. Earth's leaders had decided to pull back all human forces. The risks were too high. They wanted the fleet to retreat and prepare for withdrawal. Lyra's hand shook. They want us to leave? Now? Eris nodded. Yes, Captain. The war is too dangerous. Lyra looked out the window at the stars. Could she abandon the colony to its fate? Could she leave behind the people who trusted her? No, she said quietly. We will stay and fight. For now. Her crew understood. They had signed up to protect life no matter the cost. But they also knew this could mean turning against their own government. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, alien leaders watched the human fleet's actions with suspicion and anger. Many believed humans were selfishly risking the lives of others for their own pride. Varin, the blue-skinned coalition spokesman, met with other leaders. They refused to listen. Humans think they can save everyone, but they only bring more trouble. Another alien, a tall, sharp-eyed warrior, growled, We must force them out. If not, The galaxy will burn. The war reached new heights. Planets were bombed. Star systems destroyed. Refugees fled in massive numbers. The galaxy was becoming a place of fear and sorrow. Back on the Starbreaker, Lyra's crew received a distress call from a nearby station under attack. Civilians begged for help. Lyra's decision was clear. "Set course for the station," she ordered. "We cannot ignore those in need." The battle was fierce. The Starbreaker's weapons flashed through the darkness. Lyra's crew worked together with skill and courage. They saved many lives, but the cost was high. Several crew members were injured, and their ship suffered serious damage. When the fight ended, Lyra stood on the bridge, exhausted. "We did what we could," she said softly. "But how long can we keep this up?" Her second-in-command answered, "We have to believe there is still hope." But deep inside, Lyra felt doubt. The galaxy seemed too broken. The peace they dreamed of was fading. As the Starbreaker set course back to Earth for repairs, Lyra looked at the stars and wondered, was humanity's place in the galaxy ending? Or was this only the beginning of a new, harder journey? On Earth, the debate continued. Some leaders called for a final stand. Others urged peace and retreat. The message from the coalition was clear. The time for warnings had passed. If humans did not leave, war would come to their doorstep. And for the first time in many years, Earth was not sure what to do next. The halls of Earth's High Council buzzed with heavy voices. In the Grand Chamber, the leaders of humanity debated the future of their people. The weight of the galaxy's warning pressed down on them like a dark cloud. Minister Kira stood at the front, her voice steady but filled with worry. "We must decide, do we continue to fight and risk losing everything, or do we accept the coalition's terms and withdraw?" Commander Aaron looked around the room. Some faces were hard and determined, others weary and doubtful. The arguments had been fierce for days. General Hahn, proud and unyielding, slammed his fist on the table. "We cannot abandon the colonies. We cannot leave innocent worlds to be destroyed. If we walk away now, humanity will lose its honor." A soft murmur spread across the room. Honor. It was the word many clung to, a symbol of human pride and strength. But others saw the truth differently. "We are not gods," said Dr. Mahan, a scientist and advisor. "The galaxy is tearing itself apart. Our forces are stretched thin. We risk extinction if we stay." Aaron raised his hand to speak. "We have tried to fix what is broken. We fought wars, made alliances, lost friends. But the galaxy is not ready for peace. And maybe, just maybe, it is time for us to leave." The silence that followed was heavy. For many, the idea was unthinkable. To leave the stars they had reached for was like losing a part of their souls. Outside the chamber, millions of humans watched the debates unfold on holoscreens. Some held protests, demanding their leaders fight on. Others prayed for peace, hoping for a chance to rebuild on Earth. Captain Lyra sat alone in her quarters aboard the Starbreaker. The news from Earth had reached her just hours ago. The official order was clear. The fleet was to begin withdrawal. All operations beyond Earth's orbit would cease. Her hands trembled as she looked at a photo of her family. The faces smiling back at her were a reminder of why she fought. But now the mission felt broken. She walked to the ship's bridge and looked out at the stars, the same stars she had dreamed of exploring since she was a child. Could she really turn away now? Her second-in-command, Eris, joined her quietly. "Captain, Earth's message is final. We leave in 2 days." Lyra nodded slowly. "We must obey. But I worry about those who need us out there." Eris placed a steady hand on Lyra's shoulder. "We gave them hope. Maybe now, it is time for humans to find hope at home." Meanwhile, Earth's government prepared for the massive task of pulling back their fleets. Colonies that had grown under human protection faced an uncertain future. Some began to fear abandonment. In a colony on the edge of human space, a young engineer named Jalen packed his belongings. He had helped build defenses and maintain life support systems for years. Now he and thousands of others faced the reality of losing their home. "Are the humans really leaving us?" he asked an alien friend, a small creature with soft green skin named Tilly. Tilly's eyes were sad. "We don't know, but the others, those who want war, will take what we have. We must be ready." Back on Earth, the news reported on the preparations. Ships returned from the front lines, their crews tired and defeated. Soldiers and civilians alike wondered what this retreat meant for humanity's future. In the council chamber, Minister Kira spoke one last time. "We did not choose this path lightly. But to survive, sometimes we must let go of pride. We must protect humanity first." Commander Aaron added, "This is not the end, but a new beginning. Earth will heal, and so will we." As the decision was made, the mood was a mix of relief and sorrow. For some, it felt like a betrayal. For others, a chance for peace. On the Starbreaker, Lyra gave her final orders. "Prepare the fleet for departure. We will leave behind what we cannot save." Her crew moved with quiet efficiency. Some hid their tears, others spoke in hushed tones. They had dreamed of being heroes. Now, they were leaving without a victory. That night, Lyra stood alone on the observation deck, watching the stars fade behind them. The galaxy was vast and beautiful, but it had become a place of pain and loss. She whispered to herself, "Maybe this is the only way to protect what truly matters." The next day, the fleet launched from the colonies they had protected for so long. Ships passed by worlds that once shone with hope, now silent and dark. The journey back to Earth was filled with memories of battles won and lost, friends made and lost, and a future that felt uncertain. As the Starbreaker led the retreat, Lyra promised herself she would not forget. She would carry the stories of humanity's courage and mistakes, and one day, maybe humanity would return stronger. But, for now, they were walking away. The stars did not shine any differently that day, but for the crew of the Starbreaker and the rest of the human fleet, everything had changed. Captain Lyra stood on the main deck, watching as the last group of human ships began their slow journey home. Behind them, the galaxy stretched wide and deep, a place they had once tried to guide, protect, and save. Now, it no longer wanted them, and now, humanity no longer wished to be part of it. "Status?" Lyra asked. "Retreat operations are 75% complete," Eris replied, checking the display. "No resistance yet. Enemy forces are watching but not engaging." Lyra nodded. The galaxy had made its decision. Humans were no longer welcome, but instead of fire and war, the aliens had chosen silence. Maybe they thought they had won, or maybe they were simply too tired to fight anymore. Still, the withdrawal was not easy. In deep space, across former human-supported colonies, thousands watched their protectors leave. Some wept, others cursed, and some stood still, staring at the skies, knowing they would never see the humans return. On one such colony, a little boy stood beside his mother. They watched as a massive human battleship disappeared into the stars. "Will they come back?" he asked. The mother placed her hand gently on his head. "Maybe one day, but for now we have to be strong on our own." The decision to leave had not come without pain. Even on Earth, people felt torn. News broadcasts showed mixed feelings. Some celebrated the end of endless wars. Others mourned the loss of purpose, of pride, of hope. In the great cities, old monuments of human-alien peace treaties were taken down. Some were stored in museums. Others were quietly erased. Captain Lyra spent long hours in silence, staring out the window of her ship. She thought about the lives she had saved, and the ones she hadn't. She remembered planets where humans built schools, hospitals, farms, places that now stood alone. "They'll tear it all down," she said quietly one night. Eris stood beside her. "Maybe, or maybe they'll learn something from what we left behind." In the middle of their journey, the Starbreaker received a message. Not from Earth, not from the human fleet. but from an alien ship. It was a small diplomatic vessel from a minor species known as the Areli. They had once worked closely with humans. They were peaceful, soft-spoken, and known for their memory songs, stories passed down in music. Permission. To open the transmission, Captain? Eris asked. Lyra hesitated. Then she nodded. Let's hear them. The screen lit up with the face of an old Areli ambassador. His eyes were kind, though tired. His voice was gentle and slow. We have heard of your leaving, he said. And though we understand our hearts are heavy, you gave us light in a time of darkness. We will not forget. Lyra felt something tighten in her chest. The ambassador continued. Many may not say it, but some of us will miss you. We will tell your stories to our children, not as invaders, but as friends who tried. The message ended. Silence followed. Should we respond? Eris asked. Lyra smiled sadly. No. Let them keep their story clean. Words won't change the galaxy's mind now. A few days later, the fleet passed the border of what had once been Coalition space. A few alien scouts were seen in the distance, but no one approached. It was as if the entire galaxy had turned its back. The humans, too, began turning theirs. On board the Starbreaker, crew members packed away old uniforms, battle plans, and flags from foreign missions. They didn't throw them out. They just locked them away, deep in the ship's vaults. Memories, both proud and painful. Lyra gathered her officers in the briefing room. We did our duty, she told them. We gave the galaxy every chance. But it chose its own path. And now, we choose ours. Some of the younger crew looked uncertain. What happens when we get home? One asked. We rest, Lyra said. We rebuild, and we remember. Earth welcomed its fleet with quiet honor. There were no parades, no songs, only silent respect. The ships were stored, the officers were debriefed, and the world returned to its business of healing. Captain Lyra stood once more at Earth Command. This time not to receive orders, but to give a report. She stood before a room of leaders who looked just as tired as she was. We left no one behind, she said. We didn't run. We stepped back. There's a difference. Minister Kira nodded. History will remember that. And when the time comes, maybe the stars will call us again. Lyra didn't answer. She only gave a small nod, then turned to leave. Outside the building, the city was quiet. Children played. Families walked in peace. The skies above were blue and calm. It was not the galaxy, but it was home. That night, Lyra visited her family. She shared a simple meal with them, laughed, listened. She didn't talk about the war, or the retreat, or the pain. She only said one thing as she looked up at the stars. We tried, and that was enough for now. The galaxy was quiet now, almost as if it was holding its breath. The human fleets were gone, and the worlds they had once protected now faced their uncertain futures alone. For many, the absence of humanity was like a wound left open. Painful, but impossible to ignore. Back on Earth, life moved forward. The cities bustled with activity. Technology grew more focused on healing and rebuilding rather than war. Humans sought to restore what had been lost, not just in space but within their own hearts. Captain Lyra walked through the crowded streets of the capital city. She no longer wore her uniform, but simple clothes that blended in with the busy crowds. Everywhere she saw faces filled with hope and fear, pride and pain. She stopped near a small park where children played under the sunlight. Watching them, she felt a strange mix of peace and longing. These children would grow up without knowing the stars as she had, without the wide-open galaxy calling to them. One child ran past her, chasing a small ball. Lyra smiled softly. Maybe this is their journey now, she thought, to build a future on Earth first. Her walk took her to a large building, the Human Space Research Center. Here, scientists and engineers worked quietly, focusing on new ideas. They were no longer preparing for battles, but seeking ways to live better on their home planet. Inside, Dr. Mayan greeted her warmly. Captain, good to see you again. How are you? Lyra shook her head with a small smile. Trying to find peace. Mayan nodded. We all are. The galaxy will not forget what happened, but maybe it's time we learn from it. Lyra looked at the projects around them, plans for cleaner energy, better medicines, advanced communications. It's strange, she said. We left the stars because the galaxy was broken. But maybe Earth was broken too. Exactly, Mayan replied. We need to heal here first. Then maybe we can dream of space again. Outside the research center, news screens showed stories from distant colonies. Some worlds struggled without human help. Others had fallen into new conflicts. The galaxy was still dangerous, but somewhere in the silence of space a quiet hope began to grow. One of Lyra's old friends, Jalen, the young engineer from the colony, sent her a message. He wrote about how his people were rebuilding, learning to stand on their own. We remember what you taught us, he said. And we are trying. Lyra smiled, reading the message. Even in the galaxy's darkest times, life found a way. In her quiet moments, Lyra often thought about the future. The stars were still there, shining quietly. One day, humans might return, but not as warriors or saviors, as explorers, as friends. She walked through the city one evening, feeling the cool breeze on her face. Above her, the sky sparkled with countless stars, silent witnesses to humanity's story. Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Eris. We are organizing a memorial for the fallen, for those who fought, for those we lost. Lyra replied quickly. Count me in. The memorial was held in a large garden filled with trees and flowers. Families, soldiers, scientists, and leaders gathered to remember. They shared stories, sang songs, and lit candles that flickered softly under the night sky. Lyra stood among them, listening. She heard the voices of those who had hoped, who had fought, who had dreamed. Their memories were alive. A young girl approached Lyra quietly and handed her a small stone. For you, she said, to remember. Lyra took the stone with a grateful smile. It was smooth and warm, like a small piece of earth. That night, Lyra held the stone and looked out the window at the stars. We tried, she whispered. We will try again. And deep inside, she felt a new strength growing. Not the strength of weapons or fleets, but the strength of hope. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs. Years had passed since humanity left the wider galaxy behind. Earth had become a place of quiet renewal and healing. The wars, the losses, and the endless struggles were now memories that shaped a new generation. Captain Lyra no longer served in the fleet. Instead, she worked with young people, teaching them about the stars, not as places of battle, but places of wonder and possibility. In a small classroom filled with eager faces, she spoke gently. We walked away because the galaxy was broken. But that does not mean we gave up on the stars. One day, humanity will return. Not to fight, but to explore and learn. A boy raised his hand. But what if the galaxy doesn't want us? Lyra smiled. Then we will show them we have changed, that we are different now, that we come in peace. Outside the classroom window, the sky was clear and blue. The sun shone bright on a world healing from its scars. Meanwhile, in the distant parts of the galaxy, the absence of humans left a strange silence. Without their fleets and influence, some colonies struggled, but others grew stronger. They learned to solve their own problems, to build their own futures. In the quiet of space, a new council of alien species formed, but it was different now. Without humans, old rivalries faded a little. They remembered the lessons humans had taught them, both good and bad. On Earth, Lyra received a message from Jalen, the engineer. His colony was thriving. They had built new alliances with nearby species. They sent a simple message. We remember your sacrifice. We live because you cared. Lyra felt a warmth in her heart. The galaxy might have rejected humanity, but the seeds they planted still grew. One evening, Lyra stood on a hill outside the city looking at the stars. The quiet night air was filled with memories. Her communicator beeped softly. It was Eris. "Captain, there's a new mission. A chance to explore beyond Earth. Not with warships, but with peaceful ships." Lyra's eyes lit up. "Tell me more." Eris explained that Earth's leaders had begun planning a new fleet. Small ships designed for science, exploration, and friendship. The past was not forgotten, but the future was calling. Lyra knew this was the moment she had waited for. The next day, she visited the space center. The ships were small but advanced, designed to travel far but carry no weapons. Scientists and diplomats prepared for a new kind of journey. Lyra met with the new captain assigned to lead the mission, a young woman full of energy and hope. "Captain," Lyra said, "this is not the fleet I once commanded. This is a fleet of hope." The young captain smiled. "And we will carry it with honor." As the launch day approached, Earth held a quiet celebration. Not for victory or war, but for peace and new beginnings. Lyra stood among the crowd, watching the small ships lift off into the sky. She whispered to herself, "We are not giving up. We are learning." The fleet disappeared into the stars. Tiny points of light against the dark canvas. For humanity, the galaxy was not lost. It was waiting for humans to come back as friends, explorers, and learners. And when they returned, they would bring something the galaxy had never seen before. A quiet promise. A promise that this time, they would walk among the stars, with open hands, not clenched fists. Lyra smiled as she watched the ships vanish into the night. Too late to fix what was broken, she thought, but never too late to build something new. The stars were calling again. And this time, humanity was ready to answer.